I'm Mark Orzel. I work at the Service Learning Center in the Collision Repair Technology Center, repairing vehicles for the fleet and the pre-production vehicles. It had some frame damage too. We repaired that. We put it on a laser measuring system, straightened that out. It was bent up a little bit from, I think, from falling in the hole maybe. It got bent up because they had some damage up here. So we put on the system. It was out of spec, and we put it to laser system, pulled it back down, and got it in spec, and then here it is so far now. It's different. It's something different that we do every day. You know, we work on a lot of fleet stuff, stuff that's already out there. But we work on a lot of pre-production stuff that's not out yet, which is kind of neat. But to work on something unique like this, you know, you take a lot of pride in it. Well, they're very critical about what they want to put on it, what parts. They don't want to put a lot of new parts on it, so we're trying to keep everything that we can. Just like one of the questions was before we repaired the pillar was to cut it out and resection a new one in. And we decided not to try to do that, and we repaired the original one to keep the original, as much original parts and everything that they can in the car with it.
My name is Jeff Kelmer. I'm a technician in the trim shop and here in design, and we support all the cars and these special projects. Well, it's the 1 millionth. That's a big thing, and it's pretty cool to me. I mean, it's awesome, all the signatures, and we're getting a part, you know, to help out and help with the seats, and we do all the soft trim and try to keep it, you know, get it back to shape. We are going to repair the IP, so you can keep all the signatures on it and the seats. Certain areas we'll repair the leather that needs to be repaired and do minimal piece replacement wherever it needs it. Our team's pretty good, the whole group here. We all got, you know, a lot of talent that can help do it without really being able to tell. Yeah, like the seats have a little bit of damage, and we'll be able to just change a section of the seat so you keep, you know, the 1 millionth, the embroidery, all the original. So we're just going to do little sections that need to be done and be able to match the colors. And so, you know, we try to, like the rest of the guys said, not replace anything that doesn't need to be. To the group, it's the millionth, it's the milestone, and it's you know, part of the heritage. You know, the 1 millionth is a big thing.
My name is Joe Torrey. I'm a technician here in the garage, General Assembly garage here in GM Design. We repair and maintain some of the historic vehicles that are property of design. Well, I think it was a milestone back in the day, and there's a lot of history, and I think it's something that Chevrolet and Design decided that was important to make a statement that they still support their donation. It's going well. We disassembled what we could in order to get it over to the service operations guys, Mark. And prior to that, we were able to get it running. We weren't sure how long it had been since it ran. We did a few things to get it running to make sure. And then when it came back, we started working with Ray, our boss, and documenting what parts we thought we needed and cleaning up some of the parts that are salvageable, and that's pretty much where we're at today. Well, we did kind of an evaluation, put it up on a hoist, checked it out, and came up with a game plan on certain things we thought needed to be done prior to the beginning, which was getting the rear suspension straightened out so it could roll. And then disassembling what needed to be disassembled, like I said, in order to get it to the service operations for them to correct the frame. Right, yeah, we're trying to keep everything that can be salvaged and repair with today's technology and some of the craftsmanship that we have throughout the building here, not just in here. And I believe there's a minimum amount of parts that will not be saved. The parts that we will unable to restore will be going back to the museum, I understand.
I'm Dave Bolanino. I'm the operations director for our fabrication shop that's located within Design Center here. This is the place where we build all of the properties to support the creative process, concept cars, show cars, associated other tooling fixtures, etc. Well, early on we went down to the museum to see the cars, the damaged cars, and we did an assessment on which ones we thought were able to be refurbished. And so we went through a process to get those going. The Blue Devil has already been done. The 62 is out at a restoration shop. But this one, we really felt we were the best qualified to do this insofar as we really want to keep as many of the parts on the car as possible. I mean, there's only 1 millionth Corvette, right? So we noticed many of the parts are signed. So we want to try to keep as many of those intact as possible. We have a full shop here, so we can do plaster work or fiberglass work, if you will. We can make parts. We have scanning. We have 3D printing. We have a trim shop. I think we're really the best qualified to execute this project, and frankly, we were pleased that leadership had the confidence in us to do it. Well, that's exactly right. We do want to keep it a respectful restoration. Ed Welburn, our Vice President of Design, continually coaches us as we go through other restoration and refurbishment projects here, really not to over-restore them. And so, as such, we don't even call them restorations, we call them refurbishments. And so, if you think about a car, a very historically significant car like the Stingray, the Y-Job, this car, you could basically drive a new car under an old VIN number, right, and say, okay, that's the million, but it's really not, right? So this car went down the assembly line in July 1992, and people put a lot of passion, a lot of enthusiasm around that car. So for us to take parts off and throw them away and start from scratch, that'd be the easy way out. So given the skills and ability of the tradespeople that work here in this building, along with our service engineering team that's also on site here at the Tech Center, we think we're the best qualified. So I'd say we're about halfway through the project. So the first thing we did was bring the car in here, and we disassembled it insofar as possible and cleaned it. There was a lot of debris in it, rocks, dirt, etc. Then we brought in the service engineering team, who took it back to their facility where they have collision racks, frame racks and etc., and they straightened the frame to within collision spec. If you notice in the early photos of the car, the header was completely folded down. That was our biggest concern in refurbishing this car, and the service team was able to do an excellent job to really pull that back into place and get it back within production spec. And you see it sits behind me now. The windshield's in, the pillars are true, the convertible top closes. So really now we sort of move from structural to cosmetic. So now we'll start the painting process. We'll take the parts apart, and we'll be finishing the cosmetic finishes. Jeff, the trimmer, will start reupholstering the seats insofar as possible, the stuff that can't be repaired. And then from there, we'll sort of put the car all back together one piece at a time. Yeah, this is going back to the museum, and really the museum owns this car. This is not General Motors' car. General Motors gifted this car to the museum some number of years ago. So we're really working on behalf of the museum. We're obligated to return all the parts that came from it. But so this car, I'm assuming, I don't want to speak for the museum, but we'll go back in the regular museum rotation. Even some of the cars that weren't repaired will still also be at the museum. So this will be sent down to the museum for the Labor Day weekend event they have in Bowling Green. Well, I mean, it's Corvette, right? So Corvette has a long and rich heritage with Chevrolet and General Motors, as our performance car. This is a millionth car, so it was one milestone in the evolution of Corvette. Certainly Corvette is as popular as ever with the new Stingray. And so, it was really important to our leadership to spend the time and, of course, the resources to get this car where it rightfully belongs, and that's back in the museum, repaired and refurbished insofar as possible.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Design. You're in a very special place, this department, mechanical assembly. It really dates back to Harley Earl and Bill Mitchell and the other leaders of design. This is where we would maintain all of the special vehicles that they drove, and many of the concept cars from back in the day. Today, it is really where it's kind of the final prep location for our new concept cars on their way to the motor shows. It's also where we maintain our historic concept vehicles. In fact, since I've been vice president of design, we have either done a total restoration or a major renovation of 8 historic concept vehicles. I consider them to be the crown jewels of General Motors, and this is where we do that work. It's just one department of a much more extensive design fabrication shop area where we've got the capability of building running concept vehicles. We do a lot of internal concept vehicles, and pace cars are built here as well. So the shops can do essentially anything and everything in the way of ground up concept vehicles. I got a quick story. I mentioned how this was Harley Earl's shop. It was Bill Mitchell's shop. Very private place. In fact, when I started here as a young designer, there's a sign on the door. It said, "Enter only with the permission of Mr. Mitchell." And so during those years, I think I was in here 2 times for quick assignments. Mr. Mitchell wanted me to put a stripe on a car that he was driving or something like that, and then I was back out of here. So it was a very private place, and some degree it's still a very private place, but again, a very important place for all of us in the maintenance of historic vehicles. So between the fact that we have the extensive shops here in this building that Dave leads, and we have this particular facility, it just seemed to be the right place to do this very, very important restoration job. It's not only the millionth Corvette, but in fact we have photos of Duntop sitting in the vehicle when it was first built. So it's a special deal. And as we've opened it up, we've seen signatures of employees throughout the whole vehicle. You see it on the inside of the fascia, underneath the vehicle, and absolutely everywhere on the car. So it's a cool car. It's a very important car. And I can't thank the team enough for the work that they're doing, the work they've done already, and the work that they're going to do to complete the job. And with that, I think I'll turn it back to you, or should I go ahead and have Dave?
Okay, thanks Ed. Thanks for the comments. Yeah, we were very honored that our leadership had the confidence in us to restore this car. As Ed mentioned, this is a small part of a larger organization that really can build anything on a car, with the exception of wheels and glass, and we just don't choose to do that. So a majority of the corporation's concept cars originate here, SEMA, and then of course we also do all the stuff that supports the design process. So that's what we do here, and that's why we think we're uniquely qualified to do this work, because many of these parts, we really want to have the opportunity to save the parts, right? There's only one millionth car, and it would be disrespectful to the car to just replace it with a bunch of service parts or junkyard parts. So insofar as possible, we're going to attempt to replace every part and try to preserve as many of these signatures from the people that signed it along the line back in 1992. So we appreciate the effort. So where we are in the project now is we've disassembled the car to the point where we could restore the frame, and so we're lucky enough to have the service team right here at the tech center, and so we sent the frame over to the service garage where they do the research on the serviceability of our cars, and they straighten the frame to within production specs. If you noticed in the photos, the windshield header was completely folded. These guys were basically able to unfold that, and you see behind me, the windshield and the convertible top now fits, right? So really, we're done with the structural work, and now really it's the cosmetic work. So shortly we'll start dispatching these parts to various parts of our shop. The trimmers will start working on the upholstery. The body and paint folks will start working on the exterior components, and then again, our goal here is to get to the Labor Day event at the museum.